Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us today in the next webinar in our What's New series. I hope you've all been enjoying some time off over the summer, or maybe you've at least been able to have one eye on the Olympic Games while you work. In today's webinar, we'll be covering some of the newest features in Microsoft 365 that you can implement in your business, as well as covering some brand new features that are coming up in the next few months. Don't feel like you need to make notes or take it all in straight away, as we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar and a follow-up fact sheet later today. Also, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A box at the side at any time. I'll do my best to keep an eye on those as we go along, but there will also be dedicated time for this at the end of the webinar. So let's take a look at the agenda for today. First up, additional file types to filter your OneDrive files. Microsoft Teams presenter window is getting an upgrade. Slash commands are now in Microsoft Teams. Various town hall events, and access workflows on shared files in Microsoft Teams. And then, of course, what's next? So let's start with an introduction. It's good to see so many of you here today. Thanks for joining us again, and welcome to all of your new faces. It's nice that I didn't scare you all off last month. My name is Craig Mundy, and I'm the Marketing Campaign Executive at Bedroq. You might recognize my voice from other videos on our website or YouTube channel. Bedroq is an IT managed service provider and Microsoft Solutions partner for modern work. This means that most of the IT that we implement is based on the Microsoft stack, so that includes things like Microsoft 365, MS Teams, Azure, etc. We're also experts in secure, resilient networks and managed IT solutions where performance is critical. We work with organizations that have some of the highest security requirements in the UK, and we manage mission critical IT and operational technology for those highly regulated organizations. The most important thing that we want to achieve, no matter what your organization does, is to make sure that your IT strategy is supporting your business as a whole. We do this with the help of our 8 strategic rocks that you can see on the screen here. Data, skills, backup, strategy, investment, security, quality of service, and collaboration. The collaboration rock is the focus of this webinar series, as most of the 365 apps that we talk about are collaboration tools. Now, many people that we come across have invested heavily into their IT. They've bought all of these apps and they've got their Microsoft licenses, but they're not using them to their full potential and therefore not seeing the best return on their investments. So that's the aim of this webinar series, really, to keep you up to date with everything that's coming out and everything that you can start to implement that you've probably already got access to, and hopefully make a big difference to your business strategy. Okay, so first up, we have an update for OneDrive. Additional file types are being added to the filter options. Perhaps your organization's OneDrive is leaving something to be desired on the folder organization front, or perhaps your folders just have lots of different file types in them. Or even you can't quite remember the name of the file that you're looking for, but you do know the file type. Well, this update will hopefully help you overcome some of these issues. As you can see from the screenshot, you still have the standard file types, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, but if you look in the red box, you will see the additional file types that are being added. Everything from OneNote, Loop components and Power BI to videos and photos. Simply click on the More button, then the file type you wish to filter by, and it will show you any file of that type in your OneDrive. And this is something I know a few of you have been waiting for, for a while now. It's a seemingly simple update, but it should be a nice productivity boost for those of you who frequent OneDrive online or whose role it is to collate lots of various files, for example, for tender bids or something like that. It will help you cut through the clutter of the recent files and everyone's different ways of organizing their files and folders so that you're able to find what you're looking for. Or perhaps you'll just be able to find all of the shared photos from your Bring Your Dog to Work day that you had last year. This should be available anytime now. Okay. A while back, my colleague Jenny covered a similar looking update that improved the way Microsoft Teams looked when you minimized a call so that you would be able to get on with some work while you're in a meeting. And you'd get a pop-out window like the one on the right here. Well, now when you're sharing your screen during a Teams meeting, you will get a similar pop-out window. We all know that feeling of sharing your screen and presenting your points in a meeting, but you're unable to see if anyone has any questions or if anyone's fallen asleep. So with this update, this window will be able to show you up to 4 meeting participants' video and audio, active speakers, raised hands, and reactions, and also a preview of the shared content. So you are able to double check that you have shared the right screen. It's intended to make it easier to engage with other attendees while sharing the screen. At the very least, you might be able to see that one enthusiastic colleague that likes to nod along to what you're saying, so you know you're on the right path. It also gives you access to quickly turn your cameras on and off, as well as your microphone, and you can also stop sharing your screen this way. So hopefully it'll help your presentation flow just that little bit better. This is set to be available anytime now, and some of you may even already have access to it. Oh, just had a question come through. Having some issues with it freezing. I think the issue with that is just that it's quite a resource hungry program. So maybe it could just be the strength of your internet quality, I think. So you could maybe try closing a few of the programs on your device as well, and then that might hopefully ease up a bit more resources so that it stops stuttering so much. I hope that sorts it. If anyone else is having problems, let me know in case it's something on my end, but I think it might just be at this one person's end. Okay, on to the next one. So here's an update bringing slash commands to the compose box in Microsoft Teams. For a while now, we've had the ability to use slash commands in the search bar at the top of Microsoft Teams to do a whole host of different commands, as you can see here. Several of these require other apps to be added to your Teams, but nevertheless, once set up, it can be a quick and easy way of getting information, accessing files, or changing your status. So this is now available within chats themselves. All you need to do is type the / symbol, and it will give you the current commands that you're able to access. I'm sure down the line they'll probably add some more, but for now, this screenshot shows most of the options that are available at the moment. Depending on how quickly you type, or if you're used to using similar / commands on other applications, then changing your status this way might be quicker than clicking through a few menus from the drop-down menu that's on your profile within Teams. So you can get really quite fast at typing these sorts of commands, like the example on the screen on the right-hand side there. You can type /B and hit enter on your keyboard, and it would instantly set your status to busy as it's the first option that comes up. I'll take you through a few other examples as well. They're fairly self-explanatory, but just in case, I thought I'd highlight some of them. So the first one is /mute. Now this mutes the chat that you're in, turning off all notifications for the chat. And similarly, when you're finished with that and you want to get your notifications back, if you type /unmute, it will undo that and you'll go back to your general notifications. /loop allows you to incorporate a loop component into your message, which is a great idea if you're using loop components and collaborating with others in your organization using these. /record opens the window for recording up to a minute in length, where you can choose to record a screen or application, which is really handy if you have somebody. Oh, sorry, just got distracted. I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm not sure what the problem would be then. I guess you could try leaving and rejoining if you haven't already, and just see if that sorts it out. Otherwise, I'm afraid without being able to see the issues myself, I'm not sure there's much I can offer there, I'm afraid. But hopefully, at the very least, this will be all recorded and I will send out an email afterwards. So hopefully it'll be fine then and you can watch it back afterwards at least. Okay, so I was just talking about /record. This can be really, really useful if you have a colleague that keeps asking you how to do a certain action or where to find a certain file. You could quickly type this in, sort it out, and then send them the video, and then hopefully they'd be able to refer to that and learn from there. Just a couple more. /settings will instantly take you to your settings area. /BRB sets your present status to be right back, and you can revert this back to the default status by typing /reset. There are a few more options as well, but I'll leave you to play around with them in your own time. This is available now. Here's an update that may not necessarily help with productivity, but is something that people have been asking for a while now. Microsoft Teams is introducing new skin tone settings, allowing users to personalize emojis and reactions within the app. Users will be able to set a preferred skin tone for relevant emojis and reactions. And this rollout will be applied to emojis and reactions in chats, channels, and meetings on Windows, Mac, web, and mobile. So to change this setting, you head to your settings as you normally do by clicking the three-dot menu next to your profile picture within Teams. Then find the Appearance and Accessibility section. And then under that, you'll be able to see the section highlighted in the middle of the screen just now, headed Skin Tone. There is another way to change this setting as well, which is to open up the emoji window by clicking on the smiling face in a Teams chat or channel. Select the emoji tab, then click the Customize Skin Tone button. The red box in the bottom right-ish of your screen at the moment shows you an example of how this would look in a post or message that has several reactions from people that are using all of these different settings. This is due to be available mid to late August. Now, I've been keeping an eye on the town hall updates coming soon, as I know some of you were interested in its progression because you also host your own events. So, as I said at the last webinar, I think that town hall has quite a long way to go before it has the same features and flexibility of some of the other live hosting events. However, it is clear that Microsoft are starting to focus their efforts on bringing updates to the Town Hall experience. So I've got a few updates today that are starting to bring these useful features to Town Hall events, and it's starting to bring it in line a little bit with some of the other hosting options. First up, we have an exclusive chat area for Town Hall organizers and presenters. This feature is accessed via the Town Hall scheduling page, the calendars, the calendar within Teams, or the events details page. The chat appears in the chat pane and can be accessed from the meeting from within the meeting itself. Sorry. As you can see in this screenshot, you can invite all of your internal and external presenters, as well as set who the co-organizers are, which is a necessary step for the chat to be created with all of the intended people. Highlighted in the red box is where you initially set up and access this chat. Ahead of your event, all organizers, co-organizers and presenters that were invited from the Town Hall scheduling page have access to this chat within Microsoft Teams. It will be there along with all of your other chats, as you can see in this screenshot here. Now, even with the smaller live events that we host here at Bedroq, I know how difficult it can be to find a time that suits everyone, all of your presenters, for pre-event meetings. So this is a great feature that will hopefully help everyone involved keep up to date with any changes and the latest documents and information, even when they're not able to join all of the meetings that you have to prepare for your event. Another advantage of this is that the chat will be set up and accessible as soon as the Town Hall event is scheduled, meaning that you won't need to worry if you've got the right people involved, as you've already set this up ahead of time. Now, this private chat is also available during your town hall event. All you have to do to access it once your event has started is to click on the Chats button at the top of your screen, which will then open up the chat side panel on the right-hand side of your town hall. Then simply click on the tab that says Organisers and Presenters. You will then be able to type freely to your presenters, organisers, and co-organisers without any of the attendees seeing the messages going between you. It also looks like the history from this chat is used. It also looks like the history from the chat used prior to this event, the one I was just talking about in the last slide, will be shared and accessible here too. So this should be particularly useful in a situation where you need to get a message to a presenter without interrupting them. So maybe they're running over on their timings a bit, you need to give them a 5-minute warning, or perhaps you need to let them know that their camera's off, or to point out that there's a question that someone's missed. Furthermore, being able to access the history of the chat might actually be quite useful in quickly finding links or files that you want to share with the people that have attended your event, or perhaps even just to help you answer someone's question on the fly. Now, this is an update that they've talked about, they being Microsoft, that is, since March, and they've been moving it back month to month. So it's currently due late September to mid-October this year. As always, though, I'll keep an eye on it to see if and when this update actually goes live. Now, onto a slightly smaller update for Town Hall, but it's still an important one. Soon, you will be able to download the Q&A report following your Town Hall event. So perhaps you're like me, made the assumption that this was a default option because it is on many of Microsoft other live events options, basically. However, it's clearly not, but it is one of those features that we find quite useful after our live events, just to be able to go run through and double check who asked what or any questions that were missed. So how do you go about downloading this report then? Once your town hall event has ended, you need to make your way to the invitation in your team's calendar. From here, you need to click on Reports in the menu from the left, then click the Download button, which will give you a drop-down menu where you can download the attendance and engagement report, as well as the new Q&A report. You can then open the file from your Downloads folder in Teams or your File Explorer. There are several columns of information that you will get when you open this file, it'll be opened as a Excel spreadsheet. And I'll just go through these different headings. Some of them are fairly self-explanatory, but others I'll just rattle them off anyway. So source, this is the first role, this is just the role of the person who posted the conversation. So that's organizer or attendee. You've then got type or conversation type, which categorizes the message into discussion, questions, or reply. Identity of the user who engaged the conversation, so just their name or their email address. Timestamp, so the exact time that the message was posted. Conversation ID, which is a unique identifier for the conversation. Reply to ID, which is the ID of the conversation in response to a question or the discussion. Then the content itself, so that's the message or the question that was sent in. And finally, the reactions, the total number of reactions to that conversation. Now, I'll be honest, most of this information isn't really all that useful. However, what is useful and what we found useful is being able to follow up with questions that you missed, weren't able to answer, or ones that you wanted to follow up offline. So here you will be able to find the details that you need to do so. And it saves you having to take a note in the middle of your presentation, which interrupts your flow, to then remind yourself to follow up the question with this person that asked it. This is due mid-August to early September. The last town hall update that I'm going to cover today is an improved lobby experience for external presenters. As myself and Jenny have discussed in the past, on these webinars, these Microsoft Teams events support the ability for external users outside of your organization to present. This can sometimes come with issues with authentication, however. So with this update, if there are any attendees or guests who have not been successfully authenticated, even if they're invited as a presenter, they'll now be brought into the lobby waiting area, rather than being completely restricted from joining the event. From there, an internal organizer or presenter will get the option to approve or deny the guest's request to join the event. I know that there is nothing worse than a technical issue like this one getting in the way of your hard work and planned out online event. This little update should hopefully give you a bit of peace of mind if you're running a town hall with external presenters, that even if they don't get in the way they're supposed to, then you should be able to allow them into the town hall and then, if need be, edit the permissions to let them share their screen and present. This should be live as of the end of last month, but thankfully I haven't needed to test out whether or not it's working as intended, so do let me know if you've used a feature like this. With these updates, with all of these updates, in fact, that are in the pipeline coming to Town Hall, it is starting to make progress towards being a decent option, in my opinion anyway, for online events and webinars. However, for now, I'll still be using live events and keeping an eye on further updates. I'll be sure to feature more updates and info in the coming months, though. And finally, here's an update for those of you who use Microsoft Power Automate and workflows. Workflows are being integrated into Microsoft Teams, meaning that you will be able to access and create workflows on shared files within Teams. In case you don't know, workflows let you automate repetitive tasks or processes. In short, they can save you time and effort. For example, let's say you've sent out a Microsoft form with a questionnaire, and when someone fills it out and sends back the response, you can set up a workflow that will send a notification to a Teams chat to let you know that someone has sent a response in. It can simply cut down some of the time it takes to do some of your more repetitive tasks. So to access workflows on shared files in Teams, you must first have access to Microsoft Power Automate. It is also easier if you've already set up some workflows ahead of time, but you are also able to create new ones through this menu. So first of all, find the shared file in the chat that you wish to set up a workflow on. Click on the three dots menu at the side of the file. This will then open up a menu that looks like this. Towards the bottom of that menu, it has workflows, where once you click it, it'll open up another menu where it's got some of your current workflows that you've already created and the See All Workflows option. Now, this last option is where you can set up the new workflows if you need to. I know that some people can't speak highly enough of Power Automate and workflows, and others that simply cannot stand it. So if you're one of the former, then this update will help you to speed up your automating even more so, as you can directly set it up from the shared file within that chat. Let me know in the chat, actually, if you've had any experience, positive or negative, with Power Automate and workflows. I'd be interested to see what you say. Now, this is another update that keeps getting its release pushed back and back, but it should be due now, between now and mid-August. Okay, that's us for today. I just wanted to quickly let you know about the next webinar in this series that will be coming in the next month. So that will be taking place on Thursday, the 5th of September, and you can register for that now on our website or through the link that my colleague will post in the chat just shortly. We look forward to seeing you all there, and if there are any topics or questions that you'd like me to cover in the next webinar, please get in touch with me and I'll be happy to have a look. So again, that should be the link in the chat now. So if you just want to make sure that you get the event in your diary, please go ahead and register just now. Remember, all of these webinars are recorded and accessible through our YouTube channel and website. So if you've enjoyed it, please make sure to look through some of our past ones as well, in case you're interested in learning some more. I will now just quickly take you through our stakeholder workshop that Bedroq run. It's called the 8 Rocks Assessment. It goes back to the 8 strategic rocks that I talked through right at the very, very beginning of this webinar. This is a stakeholder workshop designed to get consensus on your business priorities. It can be conducted face-to-face or virtually, and it gets leaders and investors aligned behind the best way to fully assess your IT strategy. It's important to note here that there are no cost implications with this other than a mutual investment of time. So if you're an IT leader at your organization and you need a bit of backup to prove to your CFO that you need to make an investment into your IT, or if you're looking at ways that you can better use existing IT investments, well, we're happy to look at all of these things. So do let us know if this is something that might interest you, and we'll be happy to set this up and introduce you to the team that will walk you through this process. Okay, so we now have a little bit of time for Q&A. So if you have any more questions, please put them in the Q&A box just now, and I will just have a quick read and just see if there's anything that's come through. So from Phil, we've got slash recording teams just takes you to the apps page. Do I need to install a particular app? Good question. When I tested it on my own team version of Teams, it just worked straight away. But I think it would probably be best to make sure that you are up to date. Sorry, that your Teams is up to date, has been updated to the latest version, and that you've it might be worth checking as well, I suppose, if that doesn't work, if there is a record app to then install. And then once it is, it'll just work in the background basically when you type slash record. Hopefully it will then just work. I'm afraid I don't know if there's a specific recording app, but it's probably just one of the first ones that comes up that is Microsoft made. And that looks like it's us for today. Okay, so as always, if you have any more questions that come to you down the line while you're trying this out, while you're watching the recording or reading the fact sheet later today, then please feel free to reply to the email that I will send out shortly later today. I'll be happy to help with any of the queries that you have on this webinar or any other topics, and of course we'll always be happy to look into them to cover them in the future. So again, thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Goodbye.